guys, July giveaway, done. On Sunday, I'll reveal the winner. I can't do it until I get back home to my main PC. I'm currently in Berlin working on the LEC, but I'll be doing another giveaway this month, very likely an Xbox. So if you want to get involved with that, same rules apply. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, so when a video goes live, you can comment on it, because the comment is what gets you the entry. You can also go to Claytano's channel. He's giving away, I think, a PS4 again, so go and check out him at youtube.com/Claytano. Now, I am here at the LEC studio. I decided to use the cam this time. I'm currently in the green room. I'm here with Papa Smithy, who's over there. He's going to say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Papa Smithy said hello. He doesn't know anything about autochess though, so I did want to get him to come on the video, but he was like, no, I don't know enough about autochess. So I was like, okay, so that's fine, Papa.
Don't re-roll too much.
Don't re-roll too much. I'm being told not to re-roll too much. Okay, we're basically doing another analysis of a game that I played yesterday. This was with the new update, so Ogre Mage has been removed, and they have added in Death Prophet, which, by the way, spoiler alert, Death Prophet is a very bad unit. But I did want to try it out in this video. I was basically determined to play a game where I would get Death Prophet. If the video is a little bit laggy for you, that's because my PC was overheating, because my laptop can be a little bit crap from time to time, but hopefully we'll be able to go through the very basics of what happened this game. And essentially, as you can see, I started recording when I hit a God of War 2. Now, I got a God of War 2 at about round 3, which essentially signals to me that I'm going to go a God build. You don't usually ever go God of War, a God build. You never usually commit to a God build unless you pick up God of War 2. I did pick up God of War 2, so I essentially was saying, okay, well, this is probably going to carry me through the mid-game. As long as I pick up the Source, I pick up Thunder Spirit, maybe pick up Shining Dragon, I've got a really good sort of beginning for a God build here. So I'm essentially showing you how a God build can function on this new update. It hasn't really changed too much because Ogre Mage was never used. I don't think Death Prophet is a particularly good unit for gods because her cooldown or her skill is not an immediate impact. The whole point of a God build is you get cooldown reduction on your abilities and you want an immediate impact skill. Now, if you got God of Thunder, Death Prophet can work in a sort of more elongated fight because she'll continuously cast it and it will stack. But if you don't get a God of Thunder, she's not a particularly good unit, and I think she's probably outclassed by Soul Reaper in almost every situation. But as you can see here, I've already picked up a Thunder Spirit early on. I've got a Wind Ranger, who's a great unit for gods. I've also got the Source. If I get the Source to level 2, that will last me pretty much the entire game. So I've got a good base for gods, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. This is a good base for gods. It's very difficult to take a god build from the early game now with the nerfs to 3 mages and the nerfs to God of War, and then just ride those coattails all the way to the end of the game. But if you get an early Source 2 or an early Thunder Spirit 2, those are going to carry you like really hard for the majority of the game. And that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve here by picking up the Thunder Spirit. You also have, if I can pick up things like a Heaven Bomber 2, if I pick up things like a Skybreaker 2, like these are just good units that are very good until about round 15 to round 18, and they are just going to be super strong, and they'll basically protect my HP total, which is the most important thing for a god build, is just protecting your HP total, because you're going to lull in the mid game super hard. So that's basically what I'm looking to achieve, with this particular set of units that I'm going for. I'm also now transitioning over to the corner, because once you pick up Source, like, it's actually not that conducive to put everything at the front, because Source is not a combat unit, so you might as well keep her as far away from the action as physically possible. And it also gives more time and space to your Thunder Spirit. It also isolates your God of War, and that makes him the main target for, as you can see here, versus this Knight composition. My God of War has tanked pretty much the entire set of Knights. It's allowed me to get multiple casts of the Thunder Spirit ability off, and in general helps me beat a composition that I wouldn't naturally be able to beat. So if I'd put everything up at the front, I might have lost the Source early, I might have lost my mana generation, and it might have gone a little bit more differently. So now I'm looking at like what units I can just essentially shoehorn into the composition. I don't really have many good options because I can't bring on things like Dwarf Hunter, as you can see here. I'm essentially in two minds about bringing on this Venomancer. The reason I do is because he's got 1,000 base HP. His actual skill is not that useful to me. Because the Armor Shred makes no difference. It makes a little bit of difference for God of War's physical ability damage, but in general, it's not a brilliant unit for gods. It's good to maybe activate the Warlock bonus, but that's literally about it. And to be honest, now that the Warlock bonus is 2 Warlocks, it really isn't even that good anyway. So I brought him on because he's essentially a tank. He bought me like what in this game this particular example he bought me 3 or 4 seconds. 1000 HP is a good base HP for a level 1 unit. That's why I ended up bringing him on in this scenario. So happy to just have a random Venomancer in the pool. He's also going to help me versus neutral rounds, believe it or not. Armor Shred on neutral rounds is very important because magic damage just doesn't do enough damage to those neutral rounds like the rock golems or the wolves or whatever. So actually having the armor shredder Venomancer on is important because Thunder Spirit's got a good high base attack damage, Wind Ranger has got a high base attack damage DPS, blah 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 blah. You can see here that I basically had lucked out and I picked up a Thunder Spirit 2. That is essentially the core unit for mid-game gods. Now I'm looking for a Shining Dragon to give myself the mage bonus. I will sacrifice pretty much anything for that Shining Dragon. It's very, very likely that I'll end up taking off the Venomancer. But I will sacrifice anything to get that mage bonus. So this comp will... Basically, one of those units is going to go in the bin. The one that's most likely going to go in the bin is going to be the Venomancer. But having a Thunder Spirit 2 is just ridiculously good. Like, this just makes my comp infinitely strong in the mid-game. It's one of the hardest units to get going with a god comp, and just giving myself the option of having like this insane magic damage burst on a very low cooldown. Not many people are going to be able to beat me with the Thunder Spirit 2. So this has essentially set my mid-game up for whatever I want. So now it's going to be about building an economy. And you can see here, the round after the rock golems, I essentially found the core units that I wanted. I got Heaven Bomber 2 and also picked up my Shining Dragon. So if you had any shadow of a doubt that this was going to be a God's game, this is 100% going to be a God's game. What I also have done here is I've sold everything that essentially doesn't really fit the build very well, and I've put that in to get a 10 economy by round 11. It's a little bit late to hit a 10 economy in most situations, but because I invested into win streaking, it's actually not that bad. And plus I've spent a lot of gold on very high value units, so a lot of my gold has gone on securing my mid game, which has been the Thunder Spirit 2, which has been the Source 2, the Heaven Bomber, investing in getting the Mage bonus online. And because I have a win streak, I'm also naturally a little bit ahead in economy where I should be if I was just middling. So actually having this amount of gold at this round is not too bad because I can now just save up over the next few rounds, only ever buying things that are absolutely necessary to this particular build, and then get 50 economy by rounds 15 or 16, and then we're good. We just ride 50 economy all the way up to level 9 and win the game, which is essentially how God builds work. Now, in most scenarios, I wouldn't actually pick up a strange egg this early on because 5 gold is a big dent in your economy at round 12. But because I know that my comp is so strong to support it, I'm actually very happy to invest the 5 gold at this point in time, because not only is the egg going to give me the option for 2-starring an important 4-cost unit, it might also give me the option to get a 3-cost unit on the board as well. So I'm going to keep this egg, and it will at some point in this god build become very useful. So I'm very happy to just have this egg lying around because it's essentially a ticking time bomb in a god build to give you a massive power spike. So I'm happy to invest the 5 gold now, even though my economy might not necessarily be able to support it, simply because it's going to be very, very, very important for me in the long run in terms of it's very, very important for me in the long run in terms of giving me a really, really strong power up from maybe even from round 20 onwards, and we're only at round 12 right now, so we've got 8 rounds that we can sit on this egg, and we don't really have any particular threats to us. And you can see I actually had a look at the positioning of the guy in the first place. He's my only threat in terms of blowing my win streak, so I need to position accordingly for that one guy. So it's something that when you are win streaking, if there is someone above you, if there are other strong comps in the game, you should go and check out the positioning, because you don't want to get caught off guard, lose your win streak, because the game's basically like, well, screw you, you're going to play the number 1 guy in the game. So I actually position back on the other side of the field. The reason I do this is because when you're playing a mage comp, it's better to be like directly opposite if you can be, especially if you want to, well, especially when it's a god comp. Maybe like a traditional mage comp, it's nice to be on the opposite side of the field. But when you're playing a god comp, I like to be directly opposite, because you get your abilities off so quickly and so often that you just want to be able to do the maximum amount of damage in the quickest amount of time possible. So that's exactly why I moved my comp straight over to the side. And a little bit worried about this assassin composition, as you can see here. Like, assassins can shut down gods, but realistically, because I've got a Thunder Spirit 2, I'm not in a situation where it's going to be a massive impact to me. So I'm very happy to just say, okay, whatever, assassins, I'll position however I want versus assassins at this point, because again, got a really strong comp, got a Thunder Spirit 2, blah 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 blah. So now we're heading into round 14 and 15. This is the point in the game where I'm like, okay, the most important thing for me now is generating a healthy economy so that I can level up. Like, I just want to level up. I want to invest my gold into levels and get to around level 8 or level 9 as quickly as physically possible. The reason I want to get to level 9 is because the higher chance of finding the legendary units, and with a god comp, for the most part, you need God of Thunder to be, 100% secure in the late game. It's not always the case. You can play a god composition that relies on only a single god, and it can still do very well throughout the course of the game. But obviously, God of Thunder is the absolute get-out clause of any god comp. Like, if you're struggling with a god comp, you don't have the level 2 units that I currently have. Like, you get a God of Thunder, suddenly you've won the game. Like, that's just how it goes. That's why people find gods a bit of a coin flip composition, because it's just like, well, he found God of Thunder at around 21, guess he wins. But for me, like, I've built a strong enough singular god composition that's not a big deal. I would also recommend that throughout the game, you check who you are fighting in terms of opponents and see how heavily you win or lose. Like, win streaking, I just checked out the guy who beat me, and I needed to check exactly what happened so I can either reposition or I can roll for upgrades that might actually give me a little bit of an edge. And you can see that I'm on the borderline here because I'm on Wolfpack, but actually I might go pretty heavy and go to level 7 ASAP, simply because one extra unit on the field, as long as it's a relatively important unit, could give me the edge versus the guy that just beat me. And when you have a win streak, the most important thing is protecting your win streak. So you level up to protect your win streak. The way it works economy-wise is that you get +3 gold for the win streak that I'm on right now. So like beyond 6 or 7 wins, you get +3 gold. If you compare that in terms of pure interest economy, that's the same as having 30 gold. So if I'm going to spend 20 gold to invest a 30 gold interest over the course of a few rounds, that I would have spent that money anyway at some point, it's better to invest it now so that you protect your economy in the long run. Which is what I'm going to do over the next few rounds. I'm going to get to level 7 because it's much, much more important for me to protect my economy versus a couple of strong players in the game than it is for me to just sort of say, okay, well, I guess I'll just wait, And if I face the guy with the warriors that I just saw beat me with the level 2 swordman, like, that actually kills my win streak. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world because I'm obviously at 50 gold now, so I have that natural 5 gold income. But if I could protect my 8 gold income every turn by having a +3 win streak and having 50 gold, like, that's a better scenario than not. So I'm always looking to invest gold where I can to protect my economy. I think on reflection on this particular game, I actually would have spent to invest now than waiting till the next turn, because if I'd faced the guy who's in second place, I might have ended up losing my win streak. Very lucky now in this scenario that I faced a very, very weak god player and I beat him. But there is now a serious drive for me to just say, okay, now all of the gold that I've got here is going to be invested directly into levels. And you'll see me do that over the next few turns. I will invest all of my gold directly into levels and then, try and find something relevant to bring on. And speaking of relevant to bring on, something that I massively, massively underestimated in a lot of god builds is Lord of Sand. He's got a base armor of 10, makes him innately tanky. He's also got a incredibly powerful CC ability, which is he burrows, he essentially goes from one end of the map to the other end of the map and knocks up everybody in his path. And obviously having that on a lower cooldown with the mana generation from the source is an incredibly good thing. And it's something that I massively underrated in a lot of my god builds, because even I just thought, well, level 1, like, Sand King, what's that going to do? And I'm actually facing the guy who beat me earlier, by the way. I brought in the Lord of Sand, and it doesn't look like I'm in a particularly good spot, but if you watch the Lord of Sand, he buys me so much time with just this constant ability to, like, burrow. He also set up a really good knock-up into the middle of the Thunder Spirit ultimate, which essentially gave me a really, really strong win versus this guy. So, as you can see, it is important to respect the fact that actually there are some units that you wouldn't classically consider very good in god builds that actually have a place, and something that I learned from Oran, who is a streamer, twitch.tv/definitely not Oran, is that he actually puts Lord of Sand in any god build, because It's physical damage, which is very hard to find with the God build. It's like having a Skull Hunter in there. And it's also an incredible amount of CC, which you don't actually naturally get in a Mage God build because you can't include things like Pirate Captain. So actually having the extra CC in by having Lord of Sand is very, very important. And it's something that I have learned over time when playing God builds, that it's actually really nice to have that little bit of extra CC in there because it buys you a lot of time, and like even just an extra half a second can allow you to get another ability off, which is actually really, really important. So we're now heading into the stage of the game where it's like, okay, I've got a lot of gold, I've got an insane win streak, I'm on plus 10 right now, or plus 9. I'm just going to shove all of that gold into getting to level 8, because level 8 is the first level that you can get where the random rolls could be a legendary unit. And obviously if I find any of the important legendary units, I'm like, okay, nice. There's also a big decision that I make here, which is like, should I invest to bring on another Thunder Spirit and go to level 8 early? The answer was yes, because even Thunder Spirit 1 is pretty strong. So I was like, okay, I dropped below 50 gold here, but again, the reason is to protect my win streak. So the reason is overall just to protect my win streak. So I bring on another Thunder Spirit, that's another 150 damage or something like that. It's another 150 damage at minimum that I'm going to get from him. And he's also a very tanky level 1 unit with 750 HP. Like, I'm just all about making sure that my win streak is 100% protected here. And with 2 Thunder Spirits going off, I'm sorry if I give you epilepsy with this video, but it just is just a flash of lightning like almost all the time. But it is another tactic that you need to think about when you're playing gods. It's okay to duplicate units. It's okay to have strong casters on in the place of something else. And actually, I'm really, really happy with how this God comp looks going into round 20, because I shouldn't actually be this strong at this point. Like, gods should technically not be this strong at this stage in the game. But like I said, I found a level 2 Source and I found a level 2 Thunder Spirit, and those are really, really important factors when trying to build a God comp. Also, going to level 8 gives me a better chance versus neutral rounds, and if anybody of you have played God comps, you'll know that in general, mages are really bad versus neutral rounds. So actually having 2 Thunder Spirits in who have got a good base attack speed and a good base attack damage, having the Lord of Sand in who's going to be pretty solid at just knocking these neutral creeps up and providing some CC and providing some time. Like, this is actually a good God comp that is built pretty well to deal with neutral rounds. Although, to be honest, my Thunder Spirit literally just inted it and died. But my God of War is doing a good job of just tanking out these lethal Ursa, which are usually the bane of any major player's life. I also get a load of defensive options, and actually having extra defense on top of God of War, because of the way that God of War works, he's got flat damage resistance, and then his armor applies, which means that he takes almost no damage if you get a lot of armor on top of that particular unit. So I'm actually going to do some rolling here, because I've got a lot of potential level 2s that I could get, and actually getting level 2s would be really strong for me. I've got a level 2 Wind Ranger to work with, I've got a level 2 Lord of Sand, I've got a level 2 Shining Dragon there as well as another level 2 Thunder Spirit. I actually now use this time to get rid of my Storm Shaman. The reason I get rid of my Heaven Bomber, because Heaven Bomber was dropped off like 6 rounds ago. I just kept him because he was a bit of a tank. As you can see here, I kind of lagged. And this is actually going to be the round that ends up killing my win streak. Not because of the lag had nothing to do with it, but I'm going up against the level 2 Storm Shaman. This guy's got a very strong hunter composition. And to be honest, I've been neglecting leveling up by going for a lot of level 2 units. So it's okay to take this loss now, because I've had 21 rounds of win streaking. I'm very happy to take the loss now. And now I'm like, okay, right, now I need to reassess where I am. I need to say, okay, probably need to invest some more time into rolling, and then put a little bit of experience in later on. So the wake-up call is that, okay, these guys have got a lot of level 2 units on the board. Now's the time for me to find those level 2 units that are going to make me strong.
Don't reroll too much.
As Papa Smithy said, now is the time to reroll. Now is the time for me to reroll, and you can see I'm actually going to roll down pretty heavily to find some core units that will make my composition stronger. So that was the wake-up call, losing to the Hunters, because I was like, okay, it's pretty important that I actually find some of these level 2 units now, because I'm starting to fall behind in terms of power level. So I found another level 2 Thunder Spirit, got my Lord of Santa level 2, and that's actually made me really strong as well. So even versus this other God comp who's got 2 God of War's Chill, and I've got 2 level 2 Thunder Spirits, I've got the Storm Shaman Silence. Like, now we're back in a strong position, ready to maintain the top end of the table. I can see here this assassin player is just wailing on me, but he has got some level 3 assassins which I just can't keep up with. That's okay. Like, it's okay for me to take a couple of losses down the other end of the table, because they're not going to affect me directly. Also, I know that when playing that assassin player, he's going to go into the likes of the warrior players, the hunter players, and the knight players, and not going to have as good of a time. So I'll be relying on those particular compositions to help essentially seal the deal for me and knock that assassin player out. Oh. Hi. Oh, thank you. We're just getting someone coming in to do that. I'm not streaming, by the way. Don't worry. I'm just doing a video. So yeah, you see, I've actually got a really strong comp overall, and even versus the knight player, like 2 level 2 Thunder Spirits is just going to do so much work. Like it's going to be huge damage, especially versus Glacier Knights. Like people say Knights are good versus mages, but Glacier Knights in general are not good versus mages. Glacier Knights are they have a very, very weak backline that don't have natural magic resist, so they lose their backline very quickly and then rely on 4 knights as opposed to 6 knights to carry them through, which is just not good. Like it's just not comparable to having a 6 knight composition. So actually a couple of big moves happen here right now. I have got the Soul Reaper, and now it's time to say goodbye to my Wind Ranger because the Soul Reaper is just a better unit. It also gives me the option for going for a Warlock bonus. Now, you might say, Excoundrel, why have you not put in a Desperate Doctor for the Warlock bonus? But actually, I think my composition is stronger overall by having 2 Thunder Spirits in. And there's no one else that I'd actually really want to get rid of in terms of units to bring in the Warlock bonus. I actually just quite like having 2 level 2 Thunder Spirits. Like it's just a lot of damage on a very low cooldown, and they are tanky units, and I'd much prefer to have that over the Warlock bonus, because I've never really felt like Warlock bonus is necessarily that important to God builds, because you're all about burst. Like the way that you win with the God build, it's like in most cases it's literally who does the most damage quickest, and that's kind of what God builds have always been about. So adding in the Warlock bonus, which is a natural form of sustain, benefits you in very rare scenarios. Like when you've got God of Thunder, sure enough, the Warlock bonus is quite nice because you're just constantly regenerating health. But when you've only got God of War, for me, it's just like, I could take it or leave it. I could take the Warlock bonus or leave it. Oh, what's really interesting here is I've actually picked up another Thunder Spirit, and with the egg, I need just one more Thunder Spirit, and suddenly I'm like, bam, in level 3 Thunder Spirit territory. Wow, that's a lot of ties. You've got a lot of ties, Papa Smithy.
How many ULCS guys do
We don't actually wear ties anymore. You're going to wear a tie. Maybe this is the day for me to wear a tie. And so this is a neutral round that's also very, very tough to deal with because they are split. They don't attack the same target, and often one of the Wild Wing Rippers essentially ends up just like knobbing your entire team. Like they just takes out your mages one by one, and you just end up not being in a situation where you can actually beat them. But luckily, as Lord of Sand has shown on many neutral rounds, he's a great way at beating these neutral units. And actually, Lord of Sand has been real. Actually, Lord of Sand has technically been MVP for me in this particular game. So I'm actually very close to level 9, as you can see. Level 9 would be the level that I cap out with this composition. I could go to level 10, but honestly, I think the way that I win this game is by going for big 3 stars, and also just finding like big units. So I'm looking for a level 2 Storm Shaman, level 2 Soul Reaper, level 2 Shining Dragon, replace it eventually with a God of Thunder if I can. And then finding a level 3 Thunder Spirit. Like a level 3 Thunder Spirit is literally going to carry me. Like hardcore, a level 3 Thunder Spirit is going to hardcore carry me. You can see here, this is the Assassin guy. Even with 2 level 2 Thunder Spirits, the Assassin guy is just very strong. And unfortunately can't beat him, but he's very low down the table. I also have loads of HP to work with, so I'm not too worried about losing to the Assassin player. Everybody else is kind of losing to me, so that's okay. It's just one guy that's beating me. And like I said, like I'm so close to level 9, I'm in a good spot to find a God of Thunder. Like I should find a God of Thunder this game, technically. Like I should, being the imperative word. But obviously that's not how RNG works. That's not how random chance works. I might not find the God of Thunder. But obviously I found now level 2 Shining Dragon, which is nice. I'm also going to level up to 9 and bring on another unit to help protect my front line, which is going to be the second God of War here. I also find a level 3 Thunder Spirit, which now I'm like, holy moly, I need to find another unit to shove on here. And by the way, I'm just finishing up recording an autochess video, so do you want to say hello?
Hello, autochess friends. Hi. I don't really know anything about your game. I can't help.
It's basically like just Teamfight Tactics, but better.
Yeah, but like it's square, but it's like boxes instead of hexagons.
Yeah, your weird hexagons in Teamfight Tactics.
You mean more strategically diverse options based on more...
It's literally the exact opposite.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, guys. So you can see here in this round, like this, if you check the items that this guy's got on his Skybreaker, like he's just got like magic resist to the nines. Like, I do no damage to this guy. I'm very lucky, again, that I had Lord of Sand to provide some kind of physical damage output. I've also, like, stacked items onto my level 3 Thunder Spirit. For those of you that don't know, Thunder Spirit is, like, ridiculously good. And he's got a very, very quick attack speed for a mage, as well as at level 3, having a really, really high base attack damage, too. So, if I can actually just get, like, big attack damage items shoved onto my Thunder Spirit, bam. We're in a really good spot, and actually he can probably carry me with his basic attacks more so than anything. I bring the Tsunami Stalker on here because I had literally nothing better to put on. And if any of you in the comments say 8 out of 9 Excoundrel lull, I will slap you. I won't actually slap you, please don't DMCA me or copyright strike me or whatever. But, you know, it's a good unit just to shove on for a bit of CC. I'm never going to get 2 Tsunami Stalkers ultimates off with just one God of War. Maybe with a God of Thunder, that'll be a bit more of a viable expectation. But I'm not going to get 2 Tsunami Stalker ultimates off. But that one Tsunami Stalker ultimate is magic damage, and it's also going to give me a couple of seconds to get maybe another Thunder Spirit ultimate off, which is obviously very important. What I'm looking for now is essentially God of Thunder. This is the situation in the game where I'm like, okay, like I just need God of Thunder to win. I also decide to make the decision to take Tsunami Stalker off and just put Devastator on. The reason I put Devastator on in this situation is because I have very little physical damage in my team. Devastator has a short cooldown on his ability, even with just one God of War, and physical damage will help me beat some of the compositions that I'm naturally not so good at. If you're wondering about my positioning here as well, I've basically encircled my God of Thunder. I've got my God of Wars at the front to tank. I've put my Storm Shaman on the side, but left a space open in front of him so that he can generate his ultimate very quickly. But this is all about just like encapsulating my one unit that I actually care about, which is my God of Thunder, Thunder Spirit 3. Because he does the most damage. Like, you can see he's, like, out-damaging almost everybody on my team by a significant margin. So he's the guy that I'm basically encapsulating with units, and he's going to be the guy that I'm trying to protect at all costs. Doesn't really matter how I position otherwise, because the only thing that really matters positioning-wise for me right now is assassins. But I'm never going to position for the one assassin player, who's actually been knocked out, by the way. So I never need to position for assassins anyway. I put my Devastator over to the side and left a space open in front of him. The reason I've left the space open in front of him is so he can put the bomb in front of him as well. And I've now put the new unit on. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, just up front, this is a terrible decision in a God comp, and you should never bloody do it. The new Ghost Prophet unit is not good in God comps unless you get God of Thunder. And even then, it's not that good. I put it in because it's the new unit, and I was like, yeah, let's put the new unit in. Just want to see what it does. Even though I knew what it does from Dota Auto Chess, I kind of wanted to see the animations and stuff. So I will tell you now that Ghost Prophet is a garbage unit in God comps. In fact, to be honest, Ghost Prophet in general is a garbage unit. So just make sure that you're aware that if you're ever going to use Ghost Prophet, she's not actually that good. The only time I would say that Ghost Prophet is good is in a Glacier Knight or 6-Knight Warlock composition, because she's a lot of sustained damage over a long period of time. That is the only reason that Ghost Prophet is good, in the only scenario. It's all about that sustained damage. So I will just make you very aware that if you find yourself with a Ghost Prophet and you don't know where to fit it in, you're like, oh, a legendary. It's actually a garbage unit, but it's good in some very specific scenarios. It helps Knights beat matchups that they wouldn't naturally be able to beat, because it's damage that applies to pretty much the entire field, and Knights are very auto-attack focused, so they have to punch through the things that are right in front of them. So what I will say about her is that if you're going up against a matchup with a very tough backline that you can't get to, Ghost Prophet is very good at dealing damage to the backline, and also very good at dealing damage to squishy units. So that's what makes Ghost Prophet particularly good. Now, I've also got Maelstrom now, and also just a load of random attack damage items onto my Thunder Spirit, which is making him incredibly powerful with basic attacks as well. As you can see, he's like doubling everyone's damage that I have in the team, and that's why I'm not so bothered about like hardcore rolling for God of Thunder, because like I'm already so far in the lead with the level 3 Thunder Spirit that I don't really need it. The other things that I'm looking for right now is a level 3 source. Level 3 source is actually more important than you'd think in terms of getting your composition going, because the mana generation of level 1 and level 2 source was cut pretty significantly. So actually getting a level 3 source on alongside having mana generation items is going to give you really, really quick ultimates and really quick abilities, which is going to make your god comp even better. I actually also moved the Ghost Prophet up because she was very unfortunately unable to basic attack because she was landlocked and she's only got a 3 range. But for some reason she started diving in front of my Devastator, so I don't know why she's doing that. But irrespective of that, we're still in a great spot. And we're still, beating people with a God comp without actually having God of Thunder, which is usually not something that you see, to be honest, ever. It's not something that you see ever, to be honest, in God comps. Very few God comps win with God of Thunder, but the only reason without God of Thunder. But the reason that I have is because I've got God of Thunder Spirit 3, which is just dealing in like insane damage. I'm also just one source of finding Source 3. So Source 3 and God of Thunder, Thunder Spirit 3 are going to basically carry me through this game. Like Source 3 might not seem like a big deal, but like I said, the mana generation is so important, and the constant mana generation is so important for God comps because it's all about just getting your abilities off consistently and quickly, and also generating mana back. And for things like, for instance, for Lord of Sand, this is really important because he doesn't actually generate a huge amount of mana back from using his ability. Whereas for someone like God of Thunder, it's not such a big deal because you're going to generate your mana back naturally just by having a really high impact ultimate. So now I've just got like a load of CC. My Lord of Sand is just popping off. I've got a Source 3, which is giving everyone all their mana back almost instantly. Like, I don't actually think I'm in a losable position here. I don't think there are any comps in the game that I'm gonna lose to. And now everybody's losing as well. I'm also getting all of their items. So their items are being dropped in the field. It's a load of attack damage items, a load of mana generation items. Not that I really need mana generation items anymore, simply because I've got the Source 3, so they're actually less important. But obviously if I can just give it to my Storm Shaman to get instant silences off, I'm pretty happy with that situation. So now I've got too many attack damage items, can't give them all to Thunder Spirit, so I'm actually going to just give them to Ghost Prophet, because I just want to see her get her ultimate off as quickly as possible. Because she's a unit that benefits from generating mana, so damage over time from an elongated ability. The quicker in the battle that she casts it, the more damage she's actually going to get done. But one thing that you will note is that even at the end of the fight, she's so low down on the damage meter because she just doesn't have enough time to make her ultimate work. She's really, really good if you've got a tanky front line and you can survive a long time in fights. If you're in like me and in a god comp, like she's almost useless because by the time that her ultimate actually starts doing damage, the fight's just over. Like, just strictly over, which is why the Soul Reaper is better in almost every scenario. And like the only reason I went for Ghost Prophet is because I was like, oh, new unit, shiny new unit, that's what I want. So you can see now I'm still at 67 HP. Like, I think I lost like the total of 3 rounds this entire game. Maybe I lost a couple early on as well. It doesn't really matter what I put my items on now. I've just got so many items that it just is irrelevant what I put them on. And I've just got to beat the last guy, who I'm pretty sure is like the last guy is the Beast Warrior build. And to be honest, I just don't think I lose here. Like, in any scenario, I just don't think I lose in this particular way. Obviously, we've got the Black Dragon King now, but obviously I think I've got some solid single target damage. I've also got the CC of Lord of Sand, which is really nice, and the Devastator is pretty good at dealing with these kind of situations. I also get an item that I've never had before, which is the Heart of Terra. I can't even pronounce it. The Heart of Tarask. If I had a level 3 God of War, that means my God of War would actually never die, which is nice. But I don't have a level 3 God of War. I've just got 2 level 2 Gods of Wars, and they're my only tanks. I'm also very close to finding a Ghost Prophet 2. Not that it matters, because Ghost Prophet's garbage, but Ghost Prophet 2 is probably less garbage. But still, I just don't have the kind of build that makes use of her elongated ability. So she's not really fitting for my composition at all. But I was just like, I just want to win a game with Ghost Prophet. Like, she was so bad in Dota Auto Chess. Maybe she's good in mobile Auto Chess. Well, I can confirm she's not good in mobile Auto Chess. She's really only good in very specific scenarios, like I talked about. But yeah, this is basically the end of the game. There's not much more analysis to be done. I'm randomly re-rolling for a Ghost Prophet 2. And this guy who I'm facing has essentially got 1 round left in him. Very, very fortunately, on the last round of the game, I find Ghost Prophet 2. So hey, world first Ghost Prophet 2, there we go. And yeah, we end up winning and beating the game. I'll wait until we win though, just for the winning moment. Obviously, it's important, really, really important to just see me win and get like 10 points because we're facing horrible, horrible people. but that's okay, because we love auto chess and we love their matchmaking system. But that's just basically how you can win with even just with a single God of War. Get a Thunder Spirit 3. Just as simple as that. Get a Thunder Spirit 3. But you can see that it isn't entirely necessary to find a God of War, a God of Thunder to actually win your games. I actually ended up losing to him on this round because he actually fit in the Marine bonus way too late. But luckily I ended up beating him on his board, so he ended up winning. So I didn't have to worry about that Marine bonus too much. But yeah, we ended up winning, and bam, Bob's your uncle. Thanks, guys.